How's it going, guys, girls? Hope you guys have a great week. So we are back today to talk about Summer Game Fest, guys. Obviously, I live streamed this last night, very late UK time. It went on to past midnight. But I wanted to talk about my thoughts and my impressions on it, and just some of the highlights, some of the things I really enjoyed about it, some of the games I'm really interested in, and my thoughts on them. Generally speaking, I thought the Summer Game Fest last night was pretty good. There were a lot of games. There was pretty much something pretty much for everyone, I think. And I thought it was pretty decent. Looking at it, I made a list of games that I'm interested in, and there were 15, 16 games on this list that I'm interested to play. That's pretty good. That's good going. So I thought the Summer Game Fest was pretty decent. I would have liked more gameplay for some of the games. We did get to see trailers and snippets here and there. So, I would have liked to see some more gameplay for certain games, which I will cover on in this. But let's go through the Summer Game Fest. Let's go through some of the highlights and the ones that I'm interested in. This isn't a blow-by-blow of every game that was announced, but it is some of the things that I was interested in. So first up, obviously, we got a confirmation that Resident Evil Veronica is coming in 2027. This obviously is the remake of Code Veronica. I know a lot of people in the Resident Evil community have been asking for this remake for quite a few years, and they're excited about it, and it looked great. Obviously, very typical Resident Evil. The facial animations look great. I thought Claire Redfield looked fantastic. We didn't really get to see any gameplay per se. It was more of a cinematic trailer, so hopefully we'll get to see more gameplay as the year goes on, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be decent. I mean, Capcom are on fire at the moment, especially when it comes to their Resident Evil remakes, and Resident Evil Requiem was a fantastic game, really fantastic. I liked what they did with Resident Evil Requiem, with the dual protagonists, and the gameplay was great, the horror elements were great, the story was really interesting. So hopefully Resident Evil Code Veronica or Resident Evil Veronica will be just as good. But the fact it's coming out in 2027 is insane when you actually think about it. And then we're also getting a Requiem DLC as well. So yeah, 2027 is going to be a good year for Resident Evil fans again. And obviously this must be being made by a different team at Capcom maybe, but yeah, looks fantastic. We got confirmation of a Cuphead sequel, which is cool. Obviously we didn't get to see any gameplay. They did announce obviously that this they're currently working on it, and also there's a spin-off game which is called Mighty Cuphead Adventure, and this is an old school 8-bit platformer, sort of going retro style for the game. But I need to get back to Cuphead. I played a little bit of it, but I haven't finished it all the way through, and it is a good sort of co-op game that you can play with friends or family. And yeah, it's supposed to be quite challenging is the actual gameplay, but I love the art style of the original Cuphead, and the fact that we're getting a sequel is really cool to see, and I'm sure fans of that franchise will be very, very happy with that announcement. We also get confirmation that we're getting an Alien Isolation 2. This is, we haven't got a release date on it, but we know that this is actually going to be set on a colony planet, a Japanese colony planet, I think, because we did hear some sort of Japanese voiceover at the beginning of it. It's interesting that Alien Isolation 2 is going sort of planet side, and it looks like, it's not on a spaceship. So I'm interested to see how it's going to work, because the first game was fantastic in terms of atmosphere and claustrophobia, and so I'm interested how that's going to translate to out of a ship, to on a planet, and how they're going to sort of how they will have updated that AI there for the xenomorph. But Alien Isolation, it's a fantastic game. Honestly, I haven't beaten it, and the only reason I haven't beaten it is because that game is so freaking scary. But the little bit of it that I played a couple of hours of it, probably maybe 5 or 6 hours of it, and what I did play was fantastic, and the xenomorph is so clever in terms of how it hunts you, and the atmosphere and everything else. So I'm very, very interested to see how they're going to sort of update, the second game, because obviously it's been a good long time, I think, since Alien Isolation, 2014 maybe is when it originally came out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm happy that we're getting a sequel, which is fantastic. We then got confirmation of Gen Atlas. This is from Fumito Ueda. That's the creative mind behind Ico, Shadow of Colossus, and The Last Guardian. It looked interesting. Like, we just really got more of a concept trailer, kind of a concept trailer, but we did get to see a little snippets of gameplay. And it definitely looks like this game has more gameplay elements than, say, Last Guardian. It's sci-fi. It's involving massive giant robots, which I think you can control or pilot or climb. But we did even get to see snippets of like gunplay and like third person shooter mechanics, which is interesting. I have no idea what to expect from it, but it's going to be probably quite sort of creative, and it's going to be probably emotionally moving, because this developer, he is known for that, creating these worlds and these characters. It looks like maybe the mech is like your companion, a little bit like Last Guardian, so maybe you'll give him instructions and he'll help you with like puzzle solving or that kind of thing. But it looked interesting. We didn't get to see that much of it, but what we did see, it looked intriguing, and I'm interested to learn more. We then also got Blood Message. This is a cinematic, narrative-driven linear action-adventure game from NetEase, and it's set in the late Tang Dynasty, so around 848 AD. It looked gorgeous. You play a messenger, basically, and his son is along with him for the ride, apparently, but you're trying to get a message eastward in the middle of this huge war that's happening. Cinematically, visually, it looked stunning. It looked gorgeous. Definitely there's a lot of like really beautiful looking games coming from China. The question will be, how good is the story? That's going to be the question. I think we got to see snippets of gameplay. It looked very cinematic, a la God of War style. We even got to see a segment on horseback and archery. But yeah, how the game looks when you're actually playing it, I'm interested to see. But what we did see, it looked interesting and beautiful, and I'm intrigued to learn more. Then we got to see a new trailer for Stranger Than Heaven, and we got a confirmed release date for that now. It's coming out on the 15th of January 2027. And then we got an announcement that the game is going to have cameos from Snoop Dogg, and a visual kind of like a cameo from Tupac. Honestly, I really couldn't care less with cameos for famous Western celebrities. I don't really understand this almost like Japanese developer obsession with having like famous Western celebrities. Like Kojima is guilty of this, and for me, having a celebrity in your game doesn't necessarily mean that game is going to be great, that it's going to be amazing. There are exceptions to that, of course, like Cyberpunk, having Keanu Reeves, like that was amazing. But I think like I'm not bothered about the celebrity. I wonder if they do it because they're like thinking maybe if they do that, it might pull in the Western audience, and maybe as a Japanese studio, they're worried about that. But to be fair, like, I don't think so. I think there are a lot of people that are interested in Stranger Than Heaven, and it looks intriguing. It looks really interesting, and like cinematically, like the art style and everything looks cool. I like the setting. I like the time period. So I'm more interested in what we've seen so far. And yesterday's announcement of Snoop Dogg and Tupac was a nothing burger for me. Like that doesn't have any impact on me in terms of my interest. If anything, it actually makes me less interested in it, which is hilarious. But yeah, I want to see gameplay. Because for that game, we've seen predominantly cinematic trailers, right? They're going for this kind of like almost Pulp Fiction vibe, like Tarantino style art direction for the cinematic trailers, and even last night's trailers was very similar to that. But I'd like to see more gameplay. That's what I want to see. How does it play? How does it look? That's what I want to see. We then obviously got an announcement confirmation that Platinum Games are working on a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, The Last Ronin. Yeah, I'm super happy to hear that Platinum Games are working on that game, and obviously this is based on the comic series, I think, which is supposed to be fantastic. I think it's Raphael, right, that sort of takes on the mantle, and I think he's got Leo's swords behind him from what I could see, but it quite dark, a lot of the turtles are dead, and quite bloody and quite mature, in theme. And I think Platinum Games, we know that they can do fantastic things. We know that they do fantastic like combat and things like that. I think of Platinum and I think of what they've done recently in Ninja Gaiden 4, and they did a fantastic job with Ninja Gaiden 4 and the fluidity of that combat and chaining together, moves, particularly when playing like as the ninja. And when I think of that and how that could translate to like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, that has me really, really excited. What I would say yesterday is we really didn't see anything. Like, again, this trailer was just a teaser. Again, it was a nothing burger. Like, I would have rather them not show anything until they actually had some decent gameplay to show. I do have issues with development studios announcing projects too early, right? So if this game is still in pre-production, don't announce it. Wait until it's in full production. Wait until you've got something to show for the game before you actually announce it. Because I think what happens, particularly, I understand why you do it. You do it obviously to get that hype train. That's the reason that you do it. But I think what happens is a lot of people start to get a little burnt out on these games. And it's like, yeah, well, we already know about this. You've already told us about this 4 or 5 years ago. We're 5 years down the road. Where are we? Like, what do you have to show for it? And so I think sometimes it can raise levels of expectations as well. People get a lot of skewed expectations for games if they're very long in development. And also people can get worried about games if they're too long in development as well. So I think for me, like, I'm happy to hear the Platinum Games are working on it, and I think that's a match made in heaven 100%. But I do think they've announced it too early, and I do think it was a nothing burger. Like, there was nothing really there for them to show. We then obviously got to see a new game called 1666 Amsterdam, which is from a main developer that worked on Assassin's Creed for a long time, and you can kind of sort of see Assassin's Creed like vibes in it. It's basically, the basic premise is obviously you play like a witch, I think, in it, and it's very sort of dark magic and witchcraft and sorcery and things like that. It's from a developer called Panache Digital Games, and at the moment there is actually a playable prologue which you can check out on Steam and Epic Games Store, and the game is going into early access towards the back end of the year. In the trailer we got to see a little bit of combat and things like that. The premise and the setting is interesting. We don't often get to play like as a witch, so that's kind of cool. It looks like there are parts of it as well where we can actually play as cats as well through part of it, so fans of like Stray will be happy to see that. There is a prologue and I will be checking it out because I am kind of interested to see what that has to offer, and I will be doing kind of a first impressions video talking about the demo, what the demo is, and my general thoughts on the game. So that'll probably be coming in a day or two as well, so do look forward to that. The next thing, obviously we got a couple of things Star Wars related. So we got to see more on Star Wars Galactic Racer, which is coming on the 6th of October. That is looking beautiful, by the way. And we actually got to see like more sort of cinematic trailers and like cinematic cutscenes and things like that. So it looks like there's going to be some kind of campaign story mode as well as like all the pod racing and all the different races. But it looks really, really good. And I know a couple of people that are excited for that game, and I think it's going to be good fun for them. And then obviously what I'm more interested in is Star Wars Zero Company, which is actually coming out on the 27th of August, so not far away. And yeah, it looks great. Basically it's XCOM in the Star Wars universe. That's effectively what it is. I thought the cinematic cutscenes look great. We got to see sort of snippets of combat, like gameplay, which looks XCOM, which looks great. And then we actually got a cameo from Anakin Skywalker, confirming he's going to be in the game in some capacity. And it looks, from what he's wearing and how he looks in terms of his hair, that this might be set during the Clone Wars, possibly. So between sort of Attack of the Clones and Return and Revenge of the Sith. So it looks like it's set between the second and third prequel movies, possibly. But yeah, it looks great. I think Star Wars XCOM sounds fantastic, and if you like your turn-based strategy games, I think you're going to enjoy it, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars. So I'm probably going to jump in and check that out and give it a go and see what it has to offer. We then obviously got a new trailer for Blood of the Dawnwalker. That's obviously coming out in September, I think on the 3rd of September. I'm already sold on Blood of the Dawnwalker. I was already going to get this game already. But this trailer was interesting because it was kind of alluding to what the studio has planned, what Rebel Wolves have planned for the future. And we actually got to see like the main character in like a modern day setting. At first I thought it was like Vampire the Masquerade. I thought it might be a new Vampire the Masquerade game when I first saw it. But then obviously once we realized, no, it's Blood of the Dawnwalker, that has me super intrigued. And they did talk about it being a saga, which tells me that they have plans for the future. And maybe it will be a multiple game series, and maybe we will end up in modern day eventually, possibly playing as it. But yeah, it looked great. The trailer looked fantastic, and the modern day setting has me like super intrigued. And yeah, it's 100% I'm going to be playing Blood of the Dawnwalker in September. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously it coming from quite a lot of sort of Witcher 3 pedigree sort of developers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting hands on, and it just looks great. We then got confirmation that Monster Hunter Wilds is getting an expansion in 2027. This is called Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance. It's going to be a completely new area to explore, new monsters, probably some new weapons and armor sets, and they have obviously mentioned a new masterclass of challenges, and also elder dragons, which is what the main game is really missing at the moment. It's missing those elder dragons, and facing off against some of those elder dragons were definitely highlights for me from Monster Hunter World. So yeah, probably will jump in and check it out with Dante, with Edge, because obviously we're big Monster Hunter fans, and I'm sure we'll be playing it when it does come out in 2027. We then also got confirmation that we are definitely getting Wolf Among Us 2, and a rough release window for 2027. The game's looking great. It's looking really good. The trailer was giving like hints that we might be exploring kind of like the Wizard of Oz kind of mythology, like mythical creatures and things. So we got to see like Tin Man. We got to see a little snippet on like the Cowardly Lion and different things. So I absolutely loved Wolf Among Us. It's one of my favorite Telltale games, and I completely loved it. I did a full Let's Play of it, actually. I'll put a link to that Let's Play in the description below if you do want to watch it and check it out. But I really enjoyed the first Wolf Among Us game, and I'm really looking forward to being back in that world, back with many of those characters and seeing where the story is gonna go. I'm definitely excited to play it, and I will definitely be playing Wolf Among Us 2. If you haven't played the first Wolf Among Us game, there is actually going to be a remaster apparently, which is going to be coming out around holiday time this year, 2026. For me personally, I don't feel like The Wolf Among Us needs a remaster. I remember that game's art direction and art style looking pretty good, and I would imagine it still stands up, stands the test of time. It's been maybe 8 years since the first Wolf Among Us game. I can't even remember when it came out, but I don't feel like it needs a remaster. But I suppose if you've never played it before, then you may want to play like the best version of the game possibly, and you might choose to pick that up around holiday time this year. One of my highlighted picks from the showcase though was 100% Stellar Blade Blood Rain. The fact that we're getting a sequel to Shift Ops Stellar Blade makes me incredibly happy. I absolutely loved Stellar Blade. Like, that game was such a surprise for me. It was such a hidden gem, and it was one of the best games I played when it came out. I did a full Let's Play of it, really enjoyed every moment of it, and the fact that we're actually going to get a sequel, which is in a completely new location from the looks of it. So I think we're on some kind of like either new planet or new city or new ship. I don't know, but we actually play a brand new protagonist called Evie. I think she might be a police officer maybe on this like cyber cyberpunk style city. We can see that at the back of her armor set. But what has me most interested is just like, it looks visually great. It looks fantastic. The city looks awesome. There's one bit where like she jumps down like sort of into the city, which looks great. But then the combat looked like a lot of fun too. Not using a blade this time, more using sort of, you know, punches and kicks. A lot more sort of like melee based combat, very much in the vein of like Tifa Lockhart, which I think is fantastic. I think that's a win-win. That's great. And I think it really works. It looks interesting, and it sort of makes itself sort of stand out enough from its sort of predecessor. So I like that. I think that's really cool. But it is a continuation of the story. So apparently it is set after the events of the first game. The way in which the first game ends, it very much does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. There are things that are hopefully going to happen afterwards, and I'm very intrigued to see what is going to happen. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, Stellar Blade BloodRayne was probably one of the highlights for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And then the final biggest reveal right at the end for me was Final Fantasy Revelations. So we now have a confirmed title for the third game in the Final Fantasy Remake saga, and it is coming out in spring 2027. The game's looking visually stunning. Like, it is looking absolutely gorgeous. We actually got to see more on Vincent Valentine's combat. It was great that Matt Mercer got to come up on stage, because he's just living his best life right now, and it's a dream for him, I know, to work on the Final Fantasy VII like remake saga. And but yeah, Vincent Valentine looks great in terms of his combat. We got to see Cid obviously as a playable character. We got to see the Highwind, you know, the sort of the flying vessel that they've got to sort of travel the world, and you can actually like skydive like from it into like areas of the world. We definitely know we're going to Wutai, which has me really, really excited. It looks great, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing all of the improvements, because the combat in Rebirth, what like the combo system that you could do was already fantastic, which looks like it's going to be in the third game as well. But you now have a job system, which is really, really interesting. So you change jobs, like change roles, and that changes your clothing and how you're looking. So like Tifa could be like a warrior, or could be like a mage, a healer, because obviously we don't have Aerith in our party, so someone's going to have to become the healer, whoever that's going to be, because Aerith was always my go-to healer in Final Fantasy VII. So we're going to have to see how that pans out. But I'm just really excited to see how the story finishes for me, because I do honestly really love these characters. I love the world. I love the characters. I love the lore and the story. It's fascinating, and I'm so invested in the outcome of their story and what happens. And I'm really looking forward to seeing whether or not it's going to like follow the original fairly truthfully, but expand on some things, or if we're actually going to get some changes to the events in the third game. I'm very intrigued to see what is going to happen, and I think this development team definitely keeps you on your toes. But it's looking great, and it's coming out in spring 2027. So I have 3 videos planned, which I'm going to have to work on between now and then, which are story so far videos focusing on Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I have all the footage that I need. I just need to write those scripts and work on them and cut them together. But I am planning to do that in preparation for Revelations coming out in spring next year, just to kind of recap for a lot of you that might have played the games but just want a bit of a recap on the story, or even people that just want to jump into the third game without playing 1 and 2. I don't know why you would choose to do that, because I think you should actually play them. I think you should 100% play them. But if you don't want to, those videos will be there for that for you, to get you caught up if you are just wanting to jump into the third game when it comes out next year. So yeah, I thought the Summer Game Fest this year was pretty good. I thought it was pretty cool. There were lots of reveals, lots of trailers, and I really enjoyed it. I think there was something there for everyone. I thought it was good. The only downside, obviously, for the stream was there were definitely some issues last night with lip syncing, and the stream kept sort of desyncing, which was really irritating and really annoying. And I kept having to like stop and start it during the stream, which was really annoying as well. So hopefully, you know, people got to still sort of see a lot, but we still got to see most of the trailers and most of the announcements, and what was there was really good. So what did you think of the Summer Game Fest? Let me know in the comment section below which of these games you're excited for. Anything I didn't mention that you want to talk about that you're excited for, share that in the comment section below. I'm going to be streaming again this evening. I'm going to be streaming the Future Games Showcase, followed by an extended look at Exodus gameplay, which I'm really excited for. And obviously I am planning further content in the days ahead, so I'm going to do sort of a first impressions video of 1666 Amsterdam prologue demo, and also I got to play the Onimusha Way of the Sword demo as well, about 40 minutes. So I want to talk about my experiences with that, with getting hands-on with the game in the demo, and what thoughts are for it. But yeah, I hope you guys look forward to all that content. If you did enjoy the video, please like, comment, subscribe, feed those YouTube algorithm gods. Thank you so much for all your support, of course. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. I should go.